Hey, everybody. This is Jack Hammer. Sorry I didn't have my screen there when I first went live. Hope everybody's having a good night. The 49ers are coming off a tough loss for the second week in a row, losing on Sunday 28-21. So I wanted to welcome y'all to Niner Chatter tonight. We'll be taking calls from 49er faithful to talk about anything that you want to talk about 49ers related. Even if you want to get into some pop culture, we can do that as well. But should be a good show. We'll stay on as long as we have people that are wanting to talk. And a lot of interesting things going on right now around the 49ers with, the quarterback situation. Is Jimmy Garoppolo going to play on Sunday? Is he not going to play on Sunday? Is it going to be Trey Lance? The 49ers, they signed a kicker today. A lot of different things going on. So they made a lot of moves with their practice squad. So from the main one I would say on the practice squad is the release of both Kerryon Johnson and Chris Thompson. That seems to indicate that Elijah Mitchell is going to be playing this week and be back in the lineup. So a lot of things going on there. And then, as I mentioned earlier, just a minute ago, as far as the kicker, they went out and signed Joey Sly. They made a Sly move today, acquiring him. He entered the NFL back in 2019. He was actually with the Houston Texans earlier this year. He appeared in 3 games with them and with the Texans, and he was able to make 4 of his 5 field goal attempts and 7 of 8 extra points before being released at the end of September. So he has a little bit of experience in the NFL, so that'll be interesting. In other moves, the team added linebacker Tyrell Adams, tight end Jordan Matthews, and wide receiver Connor Weddington to the practice squad after releasing linebacker Curtis Bolton and then the 2 running backs that I mentioned earlier, Kerryon Johnson and Chris Thompson. Connor Weddington's an interesting selection to bring onto the practice squad at wide receiver. He was from Stanford, pretty good receiver down there with the Cardinal the last few years. So it'll be interesting to see how those guys play out on the practice squad. But let's go ahead and jump into your calls and get this started right off the bat here. We have one of the favorites of the show. Waruna, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm good.
So you can hear me, right?
I can hear you good.
Okay, cool. So I was listening to you and Jesse Sunil other day, and you made a very interesting comment when asked about Kyle Shanahan, whether you think he's a offensive genius or not, and your answer was no. So based on that, now there is something going on. Like there is a growing part of the community that asking, okay, we need to fire Kyle Shanahan if he's not getting things right, and there is the other counter argument. Okay, if you do that, he won't be available in the market even for just 5 minutes. There will be another team ready to jump in and take him as the head coach. Mm-hmm. Do you really believe that? Personally, I don't think that he really has that kind of a market. He's more kind of a overhyped coach.
I think the market is still pretty hot for him. I think 49er fans and myself might feel like he's a little overhyped based off of the results, but I think around the league, there's still a lot of people that are hyping him up. You saw it on you heard it on Sunday if you were listening to the broadcast, and that's one of the things that I mentioned. You probably didn't see today, but I was on today, and we were talking about Kyle Shanahan and kind of the hype around him. And Kyle Shanahan has a lot of help because of his last name, and around the league, there's a lot of people who are in the league that understand recognize the Shanahan name. So, like for example, on Sunday's broadcast, the color commentator was Mark Schlereth. He won 2 Super Bowls with Mike Shanahan. So the Shanahan name to him means success and offensive success. And so you have a lot of that throughout the NFL, I think, in the broadcasting area, as well as just coaches as well, and front office people who recognize the name. And there's going to be a lot of fans who are going to buy into that across the league and make it an easy hire should the 49ers decide that they want to move on from him at, let's say end of this year, for example, if it's if they just have a disastrous rest of the year. I think it would be pretty easy for him to find a job, um, on the open market. That's why the thought of maybe trading him would uh, be a better option.
So I have a follow-up question on that. Let's assume, I mean, just a hypothetical question.
Sure,
Let's say
obviously.
something bad, I mean, season goes to bad, then worse from here onwards, and Jed York decides, okay, Kyle is not the guy. So who would you like to be as the replacement for the 49ers head coach from out there in the market?
There's a number of people that you might want to take a look at. Joe Brady in Carolina would be a name that you'd want to take a look at. Um, Shane Waldron from Seattle would be a name that you might want to bring in, but that's not necessarily. I don't think it would be time for that this year. I think that might be in a year or two to see how he does as a coordinator. But he has a lot of pedigree under Sean McVay, and he's done. We saw the McVay stuff last week against Seattle, so that's another name. Brian Dable out of Buffalo, that's probably the main one. And the reason that the Dable's name is so hot is because of what he's done with
Josh Allen.
with with the quarterback up there. So I think those are three names right off the top that you could say, and I'd probably more lean towards the Brady one and the Dable to start off with as your top two guys that you're going to want to bring in from the NFL ranks, and then at the collegiate level, there's the coach at Oklahoma. It might be one. So there's some, and who knows? Heck, the guys down in Jacksonville might be looking for a head coach here pretty soon, based off the way that it's going.
It's a nightmare.
Yeah, that's right. See,
I,
you even got your own fan club, Waruna. Look at Jeremy's chiming in. War ready, Waruna. There you go. Thank you,
I'm
Jeremy.
not going to say anything against Jimmy. I will guarantee that to Jimmy. Sorry, Jeremy.
Against Jeremy? Oh, I got you.
Yes.
Gotcha. Uh-huh.
So you touched a very interesting point, because I was listening to the broadcast, and sometimes I felt like they have no idea what they're talking about. For example, they were saying Seattle and 49ers are basically the same team. I was like, Seattle are a team that can score 30 points, 35 points, even they have a terrible defense. 49ers are on the other side, they depend on their defense to bail out the offense. So why is this happening? Is it because these guys just want to like comfort the fans who are watching the game on Sunday, rather than being analytical and going deeper into the details versus maybe just touching the surface? What is your idea on there?
Say that one more time. I lost you for a second.
So basically, they were saying like, okay, Seattle and 49ers, they have the similar styles. They are basically the similar team with different names, blah, blah, blah. And
Okay, the 49ers in Seattle. Yes. Uh-huh.
yes. So I was thinking, what the hell are you guys talking about? Seattle, they always have offense with Russell Wilson that they can score 30 to 35 points on a given day, while 49ers are struggling on the offensive side of the football, and defense is the only one at least bailing this team out for a certain extent. So I'm just trying to understand why they are doing that. Whether they are just want to be just uh, like, they don't want to be the bad guys, just deliver the good news, make the broadcast, a happy one, even though the game is lost. At least fans are happy. Okay, we are a good team. What is
Yeah,
your thought?
I'm not sure. I don't think there's that much of a separation between the 49ers and the Seahawks. I mean, we saw that on Sunday with the way the game played out. I think they're fairly similar. The difference is at the quarterback position. You've got one guy who's one of the best quarterbacks the NFL seen in the last 15 years, 10 years at least, and in Russell Wilson. And you saw him put it together late in the first half and throughout the second half. And the 49ers are a team who They're struggling right now to get their. They don't have an identity on offense or defense. They're all over the board. A lot of that's because of this whole quarterback situation that Shanahan and the front office have created. And I think the team's better than what they've shown, or they have the potential to be better than what they've shown. Let's put it that way. Uh, I think they're going to be a dangerous team all year long. It's just a matter of they were a dangerous team last year as well. Just because you're a dangerous team doesn't mean you're going to win the games. Just a lot of times that means you're gonna blow them when you shouldn't.
Yeah, that's true.
So I think the 49ers, but I guess what I'm saying is I think the 49ers are a little bit better than those that are close to the 49ers are giving them credit for.
Yeah, I think that we are a bit frustrated because we could have easily been 4-0 right now, because we know that the team is capable of doing it, but due to multiple reasons, we are end of the day we are not seeing the results that we want to see. I'm not saying that uh, we should win all the 17 games. There definitely will be games that we have to say, okay, that's a tough one. It's okay.
Yeah, though
But even
they definitely have a chance of where they could have been 4-0 for sure, or 1-3 on the other side if they hadn't made the play at the end of the half against Philadelphia, which I think turned that game around.
yeah, that's
You know,
true. Yeah,
I
you
don't.
can take the other callers.
Did
That's
I? Did I? Did I? Are you scared, Waruna? Are you afraid to? Are you afraid to come at me and think I'm going to get angry with you because I looked mad last night? Are you? Did,
that, that's a
I
good
think you're
point.
kind of tap dancing around. I think you're kind of tap dancing around the topic you really want to talk about.
No, no, no. Here is this. I thought about this. I thought about this. So let me explain really quickly. Now, let's say, for example, the Jimmy versus Trey Lance situation right now.
Sure.
I'm pretty sure we are in like different ends of the spectrum. You are on the extreme the other end. I'm on the other part of the spectrum. That's fine. But when now you're basically a professional in football, because you have played football at college level, high school level. I'm pretty sure that you can coach football. You have the technical knowledge. You can break down film, everything, as well as you know the history about this team. So when I get the chance to talk to you, uh, I should spend my time trying to tap into your knowledge, get your ideas. So that will help me eventually. If I come in and say, argue with you for 10 minutes, sometimes it will not give anything, what you call, a uh, valid outcome or positive results, because end of the day we will be arguing. Maybe I might be going away, okay, I did beat Jack on that argument, or maybe, oh, I lost the argument to Jack. But it doesn't help to improve myself for my to what I am doing, because to
Yeah.
for me to write and get better at things that I am doing,
Mm-hmm.
to understand the game analytically, I always have to use the opportunity to learn something from the people that know better than me. So that's why I'm not trying to argue with you. I'm trying to ask these questions and get your idea. So
Yeah.
I think that's going to help me eventually.
No, I love your response, and I was just giving you a hard time about that. And I'm. I don't think that. I think when you're saying we're on opposite sides of the spectrum, I think you're saying you're a. Let me correct me if I'm wrong. I think you're saying that you're a Lance guy,
Last
and
guy, and in the sense, I believe right now we should start Trey Lance, because we should use this season to develop Trey Lance, at least to see what he is actually made of, because otherwise this season will be a waste. In a way, I have already given up my hopes, thinking this is not a playoff team. So I want to use this season just to get something positive out of it.
okay, yeah, no, I hear you, and that's not a bad. That's not a bad. I understand that perception, um, and I'll get it. I'm sure there'll be more conversations as we go through the night on this, and I understand that perception, and and I totally get where people are coming from on that. I don't think it's a Super Bowl team myself either, but I don't at the same time feel like it's in the best interest of the 49ers to just dump everything and go. Um, but I will say on this topic, it seems to me if the 49ers have a chance with what happened to Garoppolo to go ahead and make the change over to Lance for this week against Arizona. Because if Garoppolo is not at 100%, I don't want him to play. Even if I think he might give him a better chance to win, I don't want him to play if he's not healthy. Because we've already seen that song and dance. We've already seen him try to play on an injured leg, and it was not pretty, right?
Dolphins game last year.
Yeah, Dolphins game last year, and really even the Seattle game, the first time they played Seattle last year, and so on. So, if he's fully healthy and there's absolutely no restrictions, then okay, that's maybe you do it. But otherwise, you go ahead and you play Lance. You say, Garoppolo's got this sore calf. He's just not right. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to roll with Trey this week, and hopefully Jim will be back after the bye, right? And then at that point, if Lance goes out on Sunday and lights it up and plays really well, then it's an easy coming out of the bye. Shanahan doesn't even have to make a name a quarterback after the game because they don't have another game for 2 weeks, and so he can easily just say, we're evaluating. It all depends on how Jimmy's feeling, and then when they get ready for the game against Indianapolis, he still doesn't have the name of starting quarterback, right? Because he doesn't even need to name it. Say we might go into Sunday if he plays us the way that he should. We shouldn't know who the 49ers quarterback is until Sunday because there's no reason for that to be the case. There'd be no reason for Garoppolo to be he's not unless he's going to be out for more than 3 weeks. There's no reason for them to put him on IR. So there's no reason for anything to come out on his status of the game for the game until Sunday at the game's at 1:00. So Sunday at 11:30 when they give the inactives. That would be the first time that we should hear anything about who that starting quarterback is. And that's a positive for the 49ers, and it would be helpful for Trey Lance. And that's very similar to what happened when Colin Kaepernick took over for Alex Smith. Nobody realized until Monday morning or Monday afternoon, whenever it was that the news finally broke that Kaepernick was going to go. That's when everybody found out, and that's a huge positive for him. And then Harbaugh that year was able to just say, "I'm riding with the hot hand. I'm not replacing Smith. He's hot, so we're going to stick with him." And then I could always go back to him later if I want to be. So I just think that's the way that they should play this out. And I'm not totally against the experiment of letting Trey go in this game because I don't know how well. I don't feel all that positive about it, but I'm not gonna get upset if it was Trey. I wouldn't be upset if they started Trey Lance in this game.
One thing I would say, even I don't expect Trey Lance to have a great game because I don't think I'm delusional to say that Trey Lance is going to light it up, 4 touchdown passes. No, if he plays the full game, he will struggle. He will get sacked. It will be ugly, especially against Arizona. But I'm okay with that because he has to go through that. We have to let him grow, give him a chance. So that's why. But I get your point as well. If Jimmy is healthy, he would play better than Trey Lance at this moment. That also I do agree. But the only part I'm thinking is, but what's the end result? Okay, Jimmy will play, but he could be still the quarterback that we all know. So
right.
Why don't we try something else? Because we have been playing the same tune over and over again and getting frustrated. That's sort of thing.
No, and I hear you. I understand the people who are coming from that angle. I don't, whether I agree with it or don't agree with it, I understand that angle. It's just that hopefully he's ready when they put him out there. And there were some things that you see on film with him that are definite positives, and there's a lot of negatives, but it's not all one way or the other. There's it just depends on how you want to look at it. And I try to and I've always told Grant this when we've done the shows. I tried to look at the film and talk about the film when I'm talking to you guys, the viewers, as if I'm coaching, and the way that quarterback's going to be talked to in that meeting room. And so that's why I don't. You probably didn't get a chance if you saw the film breakdown with Grant and I that we did today, or you get a chance when you go back and watch it. There's some disagreements between the two of us on stuff, um, but that's not really because I disagree with what Grant's saying. It's because I'm saying what I feel is the coaching point of the play, and I understand like the idea of wanting Lance to use his athleticism and things like that, but I want to see him be able to make some throws within the pocket.
Yes, I
So
totally understand.
anyway, we'll see how it goes. Right? Hopefully he gets to play this week, and it'll be a fun game.
Yeah, yeah. I think it will be
All right.
exciting for everyone. Okay, thank you
Yeah.
very much for having me.
Thank you. Hey, I appreciate you taking the time and answering my question, and have a good night.
Okay, have a good night.
All right. All right. All right. Let's jump over to Korean 49er. You're on mute. Oh, there you go. How you doing, bud?
I'm good, Jack. How are you doing tonight?
I'm good. I'm good.
So I saw that stream you did with Sunil and Jesse. You had some. I can't explain your. You got you. I can't put it into words. It's kind of weird to say, but it looked like you were disagreeing with some of the points that Sunil and Jesse were making at that point.
Yeah, I think for me, um, the only part of that discussion that was frustrating is the Garoppolo discussion, and um, it's because when you talk about Garoppolo, and would Garoppolo have won the game? Um, that was the one time where I was like, well, I think you really need to step back and take a look at it, because if you want to talk about facts, Garoppolo's played much better this season in the second half than he has in the first. We saw, we put up the points in Green Bay and those kind of things, and nobody knows for sure. I don't know for sure. I feel like if you had Jimmy Garoppolo in the game in the second half, you had a better chance than what we saw get put up by the 49ers offense, especially in the beginning of the second half. You wouldn't have had 4 straight runs to open the half. Um, I don't think the throw to Kittle, if you run that same play, is there's just lots of things. I don't think that obviously the game's not going to be called the same, and I just think that they would have had a better offense opening up the half with Garoppolo. I understand with Lance, you've got to expect that he's just getting into the game, so he's got to work his way into it. But um, for me, I just think that first possession would have been better because you have a quarterback that's in the game, and that's where I was coming from on that. And I'd seen some different things throughout the day on that, so that was part of why I was wanting to make sure I got my point across.
That's fair. I understand. I understand where you're coming from. So my only thing is for this game against Arizona, if Jimmy is legitimately injured, and I'm not saying he's not, I don't want him to be a standing target for Chandler Jones and J.J. Watt coming at him 10 different times and, having him be part of the turf after each one of them.
Yeah, I'm coming to you first. And I agree. And I agree. I agree with you on that point. I don't want to have him out there in that situation either. That's why I was talking a little bit earlier. If we're in that if he's not able to go 100%, talking about Jimmy Garoppolo, I don't want him playing, because I don't. Especially this week, that's like just taking a bunch of that's like throwing a bunch of red meat out to a school of great whites.
Yeah, I don't want him to be like when you see those shark documentary, they're just throwing all that chum in the water just to stir it up. So all those sharks, I don't want Jimmy to be shark bait for an aggressive defense that he can't protect himself from. So there's one point from the game that really got me excited. Okay. I was just wondering why. I understand D Ford's trying to be aggressive and getting that first step off the snap of the ball, but he keeps lining up off. He keeps committing offsides, and it's like I don't have much hair to begin with. My hair is pretty short, but I can't grab it, and it's kind of very frustrating to watch because he gave New England a chance in that championship game, and to me, I was hoping that he would limit, not have it come up at those kind of inopportune times.
Yeah, and it came up on a real bad time in this game because the 49ers were only down by 8 points at that spot in the game. So it was a big penalty, a lot bigger than I think it was made out to be, because
we're giving you our take down to the last second.
So, sorry about that in the background. So, yeah, but that's all I want. That's all I wanted to talk to you about was just the D Ford thing and I don't want Jimmy to get beat up in the game unnecessarily if he doesn't have to. So,
yep, I'm totally with you on that.
So, all right, thank you, Jack. I didn't think you were on until tomorrow. So,
no, I always do Tuesday night. Tuesday night is my night. Wednesday night I usually leave open to. That's the one day I try not to stream.
So. Okay. All right. Thank you, Jack. You have a nice night.
You too. Bye bye. All right. I think we got a little crossover on that one going on, but anyway, we'll move on to the next caller. And how you doing, OG?
I'm doing all right. Just off work, and I'm simply tired, so I'll try to make it short. Okay. I really agree with you, Jack. I don't think Jimmy Garoppolo should play. Let him recover after the bye week. I think they're going to go with Trey Lance, I think. Now, don't get me wrong. Let me put this on record so everybody can understand. I'm not a Jimmy guy. I'm not a Trey Lance guy. I'm a team guy. So let's just say, hypothetically, Jimmy G starts. I'm rolling with it. If Trey Lance starts, I'm rolling with it. Jack, and I don't mean this towards you. I'm just talking about certain specific people. I cannot believe literally 2 quarters Trey Lance played that everybody's basically on their knees kissing the ring. I mean, it's unbelievable. Unbelievable. And I know I'm going to take some heat about it, but you know what? Bring it. I'm not hard to find. But as far as my team goes, there is something definitely wrong, Jack. It kind of reminds me of 2012, I believe, the last year of Harbaugh. It's sort of similar to that, the way they're playing. It was just, I was hyped up for the Seahawks game, but it just wasn't the same. The vibe wasn't the same. Did you feel the same way?
Yeah, I would say that. Some of that is, the Levi Stadium in September and October. From what I've seen, this is the first time I've been to games there, but that place is maybe it's because of the heat. I don't know, but there sure seems to be a lot of empty seats in that stadium for a game of the size that was. It was disappointing.
And then not only that, I think Kyle Shanahan's a big liar. I think there is a quarterback competition because he made it out to be. I think he created that, and it's so much remnants. And you should remember this, Jack, of the debacle between Steve Young and Joe Montana. That and around that era, how messy that was. It's sort of similar. Wouldn't you agree?
Yeah, that's a good point. Especially when you go back to '88. '88 was a Super Bowl worthy team that was 6-5 after 11 games because Walsh kept going back and forth between Montana and Young.
Right.
And then after they lost to after they lost to the Raiders, I believe it was the Raiders that knocked them to 6-5. And then from that point on, it was Joe's team until I think the end of the season. I think they might have let Steve play in the last game because everything got clinched up. But yeah, and then you saw what happened. The 87 team was fractured a little bit like that.
Yeah.
88 for sure, because 88 was coming off of that 87 playoff game, and 88 was just a mess until Walsh finally just said, "Well, I'm going with Joe," and then the team went on a run, won the NFC West, and then we saw what they did in the playoffs into the Super Bowl. And then once Walsh was gone after 88, Seifert came in and said, "Joe's my quarterback," and he put an end to all of it. And you saw what they did in 88, 89, and 90.
Right.
So it was a much they were 14-2 in 89, I believe it was, and I think they were 14-2 again in 90. So. You can't. You have to. If you have two quarterbacks that are guys that are trying to be the big dog, like the 49ers have right now, it's an issue with the team. You can't
Right.
have it. You can't have it. Really can't.
I think this is the beginning of Kyle Shanahan losing the locker room. I think it's not either it's happening now or it's about to happen. I mean, that's just my guess. What do you think?
I definitely think there's factions within the locker room. There's people there's players in there that want to that want Trey Lance, and there's players in there that want Jimmy Garoppolo. And I don't think it's that hard to figure out who's on which end of the spectrum with that.
Yeah, and like I said, I'm not a Jimmy guy. I'm not a Trey Lance guy. I'm a team guy. So whoever the Niners go with, I'm rolling with it. But to follow up on Korean 49ers thing, I don't know what D 40 was doing, lining up outside like that. He should know, but he should have learned his lesson when he was in Kansas City in that playoff game. He should have learned his lesson.
Yeah, I think I read somewhere like that was one of his first offsides penalties since that play. I don't think he had one of those in 2019 with the 49ers, but I could be wrong. I might have misread that somewhere. But yeah, no, it was a huge play in the game, and it's just funny that it's D Ford that does it.
And you know what, too? Wasn't that same play Kirkpatrick did that pass interference?
That was later.
Yeah, or was that the next drive?
That was later on that same drive.
Yeah.
So that play that extended the drive because that was a third down that was an incompletion. It extended the drive. A couple plays later was the PI on. And I was trying on third and 10 again.
And I'm always yelling at the TV, Dre, you're in position. Lockett basically rerouted himself back to you. You're in good position to knock down the ball. You didn't have to grab him like that. You're in position. And that's one of the issues I've been having, even with Mosley. Was it last week? Last week or a week before? You're in perfect position. Even Josh Norman, you're in perfect position. You don't need to grab. I don't know what you're doing, guys. Grabbing. You guys are in perfect position. That's why I say I think it really was mental mistakes that cost us the game. What do you think?
Well, there was definitely mental errors that cost the 49ers the game. And two of them were by a guy that nobody's talking about, and that was Trenton Cannon. Two bad special teams. Three. There was really three.
I'm trying not to go there. You did.
Well, yeah, but the 49ers were dominating that game. They have the punt, and that ball's going to get down inside the 5-yard line, and he grabs the ball at the 5 and barrel rolls from the 5-yard line through the end zone.
Right.
So instead of having the ball inside the 5, they start out at the 20, and then the very next play, the first play out of that is a completion of the running back, and from that point on, the 49ers defense was on their heels and wasn't anywhere close to what they had been throughout the first.
I mean, the Niner defense, the line, they were aggressive. I mean, they were whooping Wilson, but like I said, I don't know what happened. It was just weird overall.
Well, what happened was they came out of the huddle out after the Cannon mistake, and on first down they ran play action, and the 49ers defensive linebackers had been flowing hard on run throughout the first half. They bid on the run fake, and Cannon came out on the back end with nobody around him, and he hit him, and it was a 28-yard gain. And from that point forward, the linebackers' aggressiveness was gone. And they started, and what you saw was, because up until that point, Fred Warner was making plays in the backfield, he was really filling those gaps. But after that, you started to see Fred Warner catching running backs 4 or 5 yards down the field, and he wasn't stepping up into those holes anymore like he had been. And so that creates the running game going. And then now all of a sudden, for the first time in the game, the 49ers defense is having people do something against them, and they after dominating so much, when that starts to happen, there's a mental piece to it, and then you get a couple of nice runs because the linebackers aren't filling anymore, and then you go ahead and you motion the guy across. Jimmy Ward comes late on the motion, and he cuts off. He actually becomes like a pick for Seattle and knocks Emmanuel Mosley off of DK Metcalf, and so that's another 28-yard completion. So there's 56 yards right there on blown coverages that are, the 49ers' fault, and all of it really goes back to the initial play.
Yeah, and like you said, and did you notice too that, I mean, I know you got callers, but I'm trying to make it short. Did you notice that there's still miscommunication going on in the secondary?
Oh yeah, you can see it. It was pretty good throughout the majority of the first half, but it was the second. End of the first and throughout the second, it was much more of a struggle.
Yeah, definitely. But I'm with you, Jack. Jimmy G shouldn't start, but we'll see what happens.
Yep. All right, sounds good. Thank you for calling.
Hey, no problem, Jack. Take it easy.
All right. Have a good night. All right. All right. Good. Good call so far. We got a few other folks on the line. I've got the goat. I've got Jake and I've got Jeremy. So right now the way it is, if Jeremy can hold on, I'm going to have him go last because I'd like to talk to Jeremy. He's got his bike on the wall tonight too, which I know everybody likes to see the bike. So I'm gonna jump over. Hey, Chardol, are you around or are you not there? Chardol, hello. Oh, there he is. There he is. There you go. Take it off mute. You're on mute.
So my question to you is, what can the 49ers learn from the loss in Seattle and apply that to Arizona and learn from their mistakes, what they made in the previous game, and kind of apply that and go into playing Arizona and win that game? Do you know what the 49ers can focus on? Because there were many mistakes that they made in the Seattle game, which costed them the game.
I would say the first one is that they need to finish drives. They need able to put with points on the board that they did the first time, uh, and then you had the missed field goal, which that's your punter trying to kick a field goal. But you need to finish. You need to finish drives when you're dominating a team the way that they were dominating. You need to put points on the board. Um, and then on the defensive side, I think it's a communication issue. You need to be able to play at the same level regardless throughout the game, and it's not a knock on them. They played even after that. They played pretty good, but they just got knocked on their heels, and you saw them struggle there. So they've got to be able to sustain it for 60 full minutes.
Do you think it was pretty heartbreaking for the 49ers to lose that game by a touchdown? If they made one touchdown and then made it and then got the thing, they would have tied up the game, and then the game would have gotten really suspenseful at that moment when they if they did that, and that ended up happening. The game would have gone really really suspenseful. Would you agree with that? That if they made that touchdown, it will be 20. They would have the lead basically.
Oh yeah, no, I think it's a really tough loss for the 49ers because I think they felt that they were the better team. Everything about that game felt like they were the better team. They couldn't put the points in the board in the first half when they had opportunities. They let Seattle hang around, and then they came out with they made the change at quarterback, and it wasn't. And Seattle was able to take advantage of that, put some points on the board, get up 14, and then you have the fumbled kickoff, and before you know it, it's 21-7. And at that point, it's pretty much a no-win situation. So I'm sure they put. I think they almost doubled Seattle in yards for the game. So there's definitely some frustration there.
So what are some mistakes that we made that we shouldn't have made? Because I bet there were many mistakes that we made which we shouldn't have made. We shouldn't have made any mistakes in the first place. We should have been, absolutely free of any mistakes that we should have made. So, I mean, what
Yeah.
what were some crucial ones that the Niners shouldn't have made? And if we limited those mistakes, we might have the game would have been the victory for us. We might have the game.
Well, the first one was the Garoppolo interception. He just doesn't see the safety sitting there, and so he throws the interception. So that's the first one. They don't give any points up off of that, but that's a mistake. The second one is when they're facing third and 15, and you call a screen pass to George Kittle to set up a field goal for your punter. That's a mistake in my opinion. Um, the I'm just trying to think throughout the half. There was a batted down ball that ended a drive on third down where Mike McGlinchey just gets driven back into the middle of the line, and the man's able to get up and knock the ball away. Um, Obviously, the Cannon mistakes, at the end of the half, the broken coverages, and there were a lot of little things. The fumble by Cannon was probably the biggest one, just because it led to points right away, and it turned into, the Flyers went from being tied 7 to when the offense came off the field to the next time the offense touched the field, they were down 21-7. So that was a big turning point in that game.
So are you saying that anytime a team makes mistakes, it's definitely a shock to the team, realizing that they have potential to be a great team, but they do make. I mean, everybody makes mistakes. I mean, that's just a fact of life. Is that something you believe in, that a team can be great, but they can also make mistakes as well? You mean I'm not saying even the best team out there can make a couple of mistakes here and there.
Yeah, but the difference is that the in order to be great, you're not making as many mistakes, and that's where the 49ers problem is, and that's why I don't think that they're I wouldn't put them in in that great category. I think that's why they're in the middle of the road category in the NFL, is because they make too many mistakes, or they have so far. Uh, and it's a team game, so you can make mistakes if the other side picks you up, right? So, for example, uh, the 49ers go out and they Garoppolo throws the interception. Well, the defense comes right back after that and stops them. And so that's a great, they call that change of, sudden change. They come right out, and I'm sure they're upset that they've got to get back on the field, but they hold Seattle, and that's fantastic, and that's a good job. But then you have the touchdown by Seattle to put them up 14. You have the fumbled punt, and now it's 21-0, and then the 49er, it just snowballs on it, and it's definitely a shock, and it's all these, they all have to work together to win, and in the last 2 weeks the 49ers have worked against each other.
So in the game when it was 28-21, was that at that point, did you know they lost it? Like at that point you knew that the game was over. There was no way that the 49ers were going to score another touchdown and make the touchdown and then nail the extra point. You thought the game was basically over at that point because there was no way they were going to catch up and win the game. So it was actually like it was pointless for them to make a comeback in the game.
I would say it was the game was over when Seattle scored on the run to go up 28-13. That's when the game was over for all intents and purposes. I mean, there was still time left on the clock, but that doesn't mean that even though there was still time left on the clock, it was Seattle played a little bit of a soft defense, let the 49ers work in the middle of the field, and we saw what happened as far as the clock.
And they were and in the game they were the thing that hurts me is that there were ways that they could win the game. They could make a touchdown and an extra point, or they could go for 3 field goals, probably 3 or 4 field goals, and that's the way they could win the game. There were many ways they could have won it. That's the thing that I'm trying to say here, is that there were many ways that the 49ers could find many combinations to win the game, either scoring a touchdown or kicking about 4 field goals. So
Yeah.
it hurts me the fact that they had so many chances to win the game, but they didn't capitalize on it. Is that something that you found shocking? That I know they're a great team, but they're not able to capitalize on certain plays at crucial points in the game. As a Niner fan, really, really, really hurts me to say that.
Yeah, that's definitely an issue.
I mean, what are they? How do you think? And in the first quarter, was it kind of? Did it kind of hurt you that they went scoreless in the first quarter? They were not able to score a single point. Not able to score any points in the first quarter. It was 0-0 in the first, in the Seattle
No,
game, and then they started scoring in the second quarter, and
the
started getting the
49ers
scoring. Yeah, the 49ers.
the 49ers scored a touchdown on their first drive.
Oh, but in the first quarter it was 0-0, and then the second quarter they scored a touchdown. So basically, the first quarter was basically scoreless.
No, the 49ers scored on the first possession of the game. So
Oh,
they were up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter.
so it wasn't score. So the first quarter wasn't scoreless. I don't
No,
know why it was
not on Sunday.
scoreless. Not on Sunday.
No.
Um, but what are some tips for the 49ers if they want to beat Arizona on their next game on Sunday?
Uh, they're going to have to figure out a way to protect whoever's behind the quarterback better than what they've done so far, because Seattle has probably the toughest pass rush they're going to face, and it's going to be a tough test for the offensive line to be able to protect the quarterback. So the 49ers need to be able to, for the 49ers offensively, I think they need to be able to run the ball so that they can play action off of it, which should hopefully slow the pass rush down.
So who are the top 5 players that you would really love to see excel in Sunday's game against Arizona?
Um, Sunday against Arizona, I think it's going to require uh, Nick Bosa and to have a really good game, Fred Warner to have a really good game, uh, and Emmanuel Mosley and the secondary to step up and play the way that they did last week. Really, the whole 49ers defense has to play tough because that's one of the other keys too. Is because Arizona's offense is playing really well, so it's going to be a tough task for the 49ers to stay in the game just because of the scoring that I think that Arizona could do.
Another question I have is that who do you think is a better brother, Joey Bosa or Nick Bosa?
uh, that's funny you asked that question. I was thinking that to myself last night watching the game. Uh, I'm going to go with Joey at this point.
But everybody's saying that they're saying Nick Bosa's better. Do you know why you say Joey Bosa's better? I mean, just get your thoughts about that. Why you decided to choose him as the better brother out of the two?
Just because he's been doing it longer, and so it's a little bit easier when you're early on in the career than as you go become more of a veteran. As a veteran, your everything about you is a little bit more understood, and it's all on film. And Nick's still early in his career. Usually takes a couple of years for guys to catch up to you. So if he's still at the same pace that he is right now, and this isn't a knock on Nick Bosa at all. I'm not trying to say that he's not. I just think that things might be a little bit more of a struggle for him as his career moves along.
What are the 49ers going to do about the Jimmy Garoppolo calf injury? Because they don't know who to put in the game, but they don't want to put Trey Lance in the game because he's a rookie, and we don't want to see him get injured on the field, because then we're going to have two quarterbacks injured, and then we need a third backup quarterback to replace them. So how do you think that's going to work? Because I don't think you should put Trey Lance in the game, because I don't know, I don't want him to get injured, because that's going to be very scary and very frightening if that tends to happen on the field. So what are they going to do about the quarterback situation?
If Jimmy Garoppolo is 100%, I think Trey Lance will start.
But Trey Lance is a rookie. I mean, everybody was hesitant about putting Trey Lance because he's really young, and he just playing the game. He got traded in the draft recently in the NFL draft, so it's not easy to put him in the game because Garoppolo is playing more years than Trey Lance. So
No, I
he has more
understand.
expertise and more skill. I mean, he has more expertise and skill than Trey Lance.
I understand. I just think that based off of the way that Shanahan answered the question yesterday, he was asked about if he was going to about Garoppolo and Trent Williams and the positive injury news that they received on them, and he made it sound like Trent Williams has a better chance of going. The news was a little bit easier on him, whereas Garoppolo they have to wait and see. And I just have a feeling that if Garoppolo's not 100%, I just have a feeling that they're going to go in a different direction. They're not going to try to put him out on the field if he's not ready to go.
As a Niner fan, I'm really it's really exciting to see how Trey Lance has developed over the years. I mean, he's a really entertaining player to watch. I mean, from his college career at North Dakota State to coming here and playing for the 49ers, do you think that his career has been so amazing? I mean, he's just like a young kid, but man, that young kid he can run, he can throw the ball, he can do everything super well. I mean, it's really fun to watch the kid play. I mean, that kid is like a star, man. He's like a young Steph Curry in a way. He's like Steph.
That's how,
Would you say Trey Lance is like a young Steph Curry who plays football? Would you say that's the way to describe Trey Lance?
no, I wouldn't say that, but I definitely agree with you that he's an exciting prospect for sure.
And as a Niners fan, it always brings me pleasure and happiness to see such an entertaining player come into the league and just show everybody that how much talent he has, and prove all the haters wrong. Do you think that Trey Lance did that for all the haters that were proving that he's not a great player, and now he's kind of coming out in the spotlight and showing at all the fans that you've been denying, you've been proving me wrong. Like you've been saying I'm not the best quarterback, and now I'm coming in proving you all you haters wrong. That you
Do I
have
think
been
that?
saying.
Do I think?
Do you think
Do I
Trey
think that he
Lance?
did that?
Do you think he proved all the haters wrong who've been saying that Trey Lance is a really bad quarterback and he doesn't have potential and talent?
If they've been saying that, then yeah, they're wrong. But
Because because that really hurts me because everybody's saying that Trey Lance wasn't the best, and people does that definitely hurt you as a 49er supporter to feel that people were throwing shade on Trey Lance?
no, everybody they can have their own opinions.
I always like to see players like that. New players, like new quarterbacks who want to come and play for the Niners. It always gives me joy to see that even if he wasn't good or bad, I still support him. That's what's the real definition of a fan. That even if you don't like the guy, you still wear his jersey and support him, even if he's having a really bad day. You
Oh,
still support him and
no,
give
I
him the
understand
love
what
and
you're.
support.
I get you.
Yeah, to give him all the love and support he can get. Because any
Yeah, no,
quarterback would want to get all the love and all the
I,
support that he can get from any
I,
fan.
I,
It
I hear
really.
you. I hear you.
So yeah,
And I hear you. I hear you where you're going on that, Chardol. And yeah, if that was the case with everybody, that every 49er quarterback or every 49er that played, then I would agree with you. And I just would leave it there because I'm pretty sure that one of my next callers is going to say that Jimmy Garoppolo sucks, and that'll be
yeah,
his opinion.
it was really great. It's always great coming on your show, and it's always an honor. And I would really love you to come on my show if you have the free time to come on my show. Then uh, you're always welcome. If you wanna make an appearance, you can always make an appearance on my show. I always like to get like I try and get Grant on my show sometimes. I get you on my show sometimes. Try to get
Mm-hmm.
many different guests on my show. Try and make it very unique and diverse by getting so many different guests on there. So
Yeah, well,
if you
if you want
if
to
you
do something, you let me know. This week works for me. Last week didn't, but this week we might be able to do something on. Hit me up on a DM for the end of the week. How's that?
I'll let you know when you could come on my show.
Hey, when you're ready, you let me know. I know you and I had a fun conversation the last time we did it, and I would love to be invited on your show again.
I'll let you know, and we could talk. Maybe we could talk. We don't have to talk 40 hours only. We can mix it up. We could talk
Hey,
like Sharks, Warriors, Giants. Nine. We could
hey,
talk.
I'm down.
We
I'm down.
it could be
I'm down. Shark. Let's go.
yeah,
Let's do it.
yeah. Let's do it. I'll hit you up on Twitter.
That sounds good. Yeah, DM me.
We'll,
We'll get it set up, Shuttle.
we'll see you. It's nice coming on.
Hey, no problem, man. I'm good to talk to you. And whose jersey you got on there?
Jimmy Garoppolo.
Oh, there you go. Nice. I like that one. Nice 10 jersey.
Okay.
All right, man. You have a good night.
See ya.
Bye bye. All right, there's the goat Chardol. We got Jake. He's up next, and then Jeremy. Let's see what we've got here. See if I think I just woke up Jake. I think he was taking a nap because he was waiting for that call to end. How you doing, Jake?
Good, man. How you doing?
Good. I'm good. What's going
Yeah.
on?
Not much. So just want to talk about. So I actually, when I talked to you last, I actually went to that Green Bay game. So I was out there at Levi's,
Yep.
and so what I've seen from the offense from Jimmy Garoppolo was he managed offense good. They did good, but I just feel that they're too predictable right now. I think Grant's mentioned it before, and he's kind of limited. I think defenses right now know what to expect from that offense, and from what I've seen from the field is they didn't play back, so they weren't really afraid of obviously of the deep ball that from Jimmy because they know he won't throw it. Other than that, I think I thought the defense played a good game against Aaron Rodgers during that time, and if you can't really move the ball on offense, you can't really you can't do much to especially against Aaron Rodgers. You can't really beat the Packers, with Aaron Rodgers back there just slinging it around.
Right. I agree. I think the one thing with the Packers game that was interesting, and we talked about it on our film breakdown show afterwards. They'd lined up. Those safeties were playing up tight, and the 49ers didn't really run a whole lot of plays to make them move either. And you saw that again on Sunday against the Seahawks at times. I'm trying to remember if it was with Garoppolo or if it was Lance, and I'd have to go back. I'll have to go back and relook at it. But there's times when the 49ers offense just doesn't send people past the sticks. And that could be a quarterback thing or not. I don't know. I think from what I've seen at training camp and what I've seen with the 49ers this year, the offense is pretty much the same with both of the quarterbacks, except for the running stuff. The running stuff is where things change because, well, it's easy to know why, right? Because Trey Lance can run the ball and run the ball as a running back, and Trey can't. So you'll see the changes are going to be in the running game. The passing game will probably look very similar.
Definitely. The only thing I think Trey brings a little bit different than Garoppolo, which I think he could have a lot of success, is obviously one, he's mobile, he can move around, so he could do the play action bootlegs, rollouts, stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And then he could obviously throw that deep ball as well. So I think if against Arizona, say they could get a good run game going, and then they follow that up with some play action, he might hit a few deep bombs, and who knows, what if him and Kyler Murray have a string it out for a slugfest between them two in that game.
That would be fun to see, right? If Lance does play, it would be fun to see him figure it out and be able to go toe to toe with Kyler Murray.
Definitely. Oh yeah, that, and whoever they start, as long as Kyle makes it work, that makes me happy. Like I'm not like trying to pick sides either. I don't want to be like Garoppolo or Trey. If they could, whoever they feel the best quarterback to put in there to win, I'm for it. And I just feel like Jimmy's offense is a little bit limited, and I'm more curious to see what Trey can do and what hopefully Kyle could dial something up more, something a lot better and stuff the league hasn't seen with Trey. So
yeah, and that's an interesting comment that you make, and it's kind of a loaded one. And I don't think you're going in this direction, but it's what I'm hearing from the fan base is that the expectation of what Shanahan's going to do. And so let's just say that he starts Trey Lance on Sunday and look bad. It's going to really fall back on Shanahan, right? Because everybody expects him to be able to come up with something. And not that I have a problem with that. I just think that it's an interesting situation that he's put himself in with making the move to get the quarterback and all that kind of stuff. And it'll be regardless of what happens when they make the move to Trey Lance, it's going to make a lot of fun for people like me that have to write about the 49ers for a while.
Yeah. Same here, man. If I'm not going to get my expectations too high for Lance yet, but I'm just waiting. I'm curious to see. So just hopefully I could, like what everyone's saying, let Lance play at least his first game or the bye week, and then make a decision there. So let him play and evaluate him from there, and hopefully he does good against Arizona. So
yeah, I've definitely kind of come around to that thinking in the last 24 hours.
Yeah, so that should be good for them.
Yeah.
And other questions. So what? I know the defense struggles. The defensive front struggles sometimes with stopping the run. What kind of other fronts can they go with to help stop that run? Other than the wide nine, do you think they could go to like a 3-3-5 wide, or something like that?
They do a thing where they sometimes get into what looks like an odd front where they slide over and it becomes like a 5-man. It's they usually, when they do that, Kinlaw ends up as the nose tackle, and they actually do a pretty good job of stopping the run in that. The problem is that when they get into that, because of where one of the linebackers has to come up on the line of scrimmage to fill the one of the backside, one of the gaps, one of the spots along the line. So it limits their coverage on the back end a little bit as to what they can do. And so when you have, that's where they struggle, because if you go into that front and you have to, you're putting your cornerbacks and your defensive, your safeties on a little bit more, your cornerbacks on a little bit more of an island specifically, because usually you're going to be in a single high safety at that point. And so last week, part of the reason they were able to play so good in the beginning is even when they were running the wide 9, they were still aggressive. They were able to be successful because their linebackers were flowing downhill so fast. And then we saw them get away, and then we saw them get beat. And that's why you saw them struggle in the second half after they got beat.
Cool. So what if they go up against a team that could really run the ball like Tennessee? Would they struggle there?
Like, that's later in the year. So we'll see where they are, health wise. But in that situation, if they were fully healthy, I would be fine. I think you would want to have them play a little bit more of that odd front where they're in a little bit more of like your cover 3 kind of a thing, because you're going up against Derrick Henry, and Derrick Henry is going to run through you if you don't really. And that's part of where Ryan Tannehill gets helped out, because of the run game in front of him. When they get that run game going, it makes the pass easier, just like we've seen with the 49ers with Jimmy Garoppolo.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Cool.
So hope I answered your question.
Yeah, no, definitely. Thank you, Jack.
All right. Well, thank you. You have a good night.
You too.
All right. Hey, Jeremy, I see you. I'm going to come to you in just a second, real quick. I'm going to bring on everybody's favorite for a minute. How you doing, Mike?
Give me one sec. No, I just want to give my prediction for this coming weekend. If Trey Lance starts, we're going to beat Arizona, and I just wanted to put it on the books. We're going to beat them by 13 points.
Okay. Sounds good.
And I'm done with the little bickering.
Okay. Well, you have a good night. I'm going to jump over to Jeremy.
All right. Later.
All right, Jeremy. How you doing, my man?
I'm doing well, Jack. How you doing?
I'm good.
Yeah, man. I do not like this record. I don't like it at all. Don't like how we're looking. I'm a politic guy. I'm into the politics of things. It's not always about the X's and O's, because you can have the best talent, and if you don't know how to manage it, it'll all fall apart. And like we've been discussing over months now, I've always said I'm not going after Jimmy. It goes higher than him. This can turn into shit so fast.
It could. There's definitely some potential for that.
There's a lot. Oh my gosh. A lot of people, they don't see it because they just see the X's and O's, and everybody's like talent. And I don't think some of these gang members, is what I call them, the gang members, the Jimmys and the Treys, I don't think they understand what's going to happen. There will be life after both of these quarterbacks, right? You know what I mean?
Jeez, I hope so.
It's like, what if they both don't pan out, right? What if they both? What if we go back to where we were? That's a and this is what I've been afraid of. This is why I clung and I cling to Jimmy. He took you to a quarterback, and the thanks you get is, I want something shiny. I don't care what Jimmy could do. I don't care what he's done for me. It's what have you done for me lately? Totally understand that. So now we're going into the unknown. We're in the dark. We don't know what's going to unfold. I'm not going to lie. I'm beginning to get nervous. Not for, it has nothing to do with the quarterbacks. It has everything to do with the head guy in charge. I saw the interview with Jimmy Ward, and I read it. I love seeing his. Now go back to the interview he did with Grant, right? Mm-hmm. Energetic, full of confidence, and he said something about the whole Jared Goff thing, And so, but why would you? Right? But he was still energetic. And now in his just recent interview, he didn't seem energetic. He seemed a little down. I don't know, maybe I'm reading into it, but he didn't seem the same Jimmy that was on that interview with Grant. He seemed more like, well, yeah, I'm a leader of this team. Well, I think he's fair. Well, yeah, he has the right to, It wasn't Jimmy like, oh man, no. That's a whole different demeanor. And I'm afraid of Kyle Shanahan losing that locker room.
I think that's the biggest thing that you have to worry about is him losing the locker room and what's going on with that. Because if that's the case, the team is in a world of hurt I think it goes beyond just 2021. And they set all this up with what they did with the quarterback position. And that's not just about bringing in Trey Lance. That's bringing in Trey Lance, but deciding that they're going to keep Garoppolo and all that kind of stuff and set this up. And anybody looking at this could see that coming when they decide that they're going to make the move. And so it's a tough situation for them. The only way that I think they get out of it is if they go on a win streak with whoever is playing quarterback, whether it's Garoppolo or Lance. And Lance did a lot of good things in that game. It'll be interesting to see how he plays. It'll be interesting to see how he plays if he starts on Sunday after having a full week of practice, preparation. I want to see how he plays in the beginning of the game more than anything, because I know how he played. I didn't think that he played well until the last series of the game. I thought he played okay.
Right.
He didn't do anything that made me say I want to change my quarterback to that. But
he showed promise. The kid looked good. He looks fast.
He makes some plays. He has some things. That's what I'm saying. To me, that was the preseason game. It was a preseason, like how he played in the preseason. When you watched him play in the preseason and his early parts of a preseason game, he struggled, right? Yeah. And then as the game wore on, and he stopped playing with the starting because in the Chiefs game and the Chiefs game and the Chargers game, he played with the starters. And in those series that he played with, few series that he played with the starters, it wasn't really pretty. It was okay. Like the Chiefs, the first series was ugly. The second series, he threw a touchdown pass to Sherfield. Against the Chargers, the first couple series were off, and then he got better. And I just see that. And then when after the starters go out of the game, he would get into a little bit better of a groove. And I just I want to see him play like he's in a groove. The way that he's playing when he's in the groove. I want to see that guy all the time, because when you see that guy all the time, that's who you wanted. That's who you drafted. And that's what we potential need. Right. And that's what we need to see him become, because if he's playing like the other guy, the Foreigners in a world of hurt, if he can somehow do what he did at the end of the game when Seattle had changed up the way that they were playing defense, and he can do that for a whole game against Arizona, the Foreigners have a chance to win with him.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm not
rooting. I get it. I know. Neither am I. I'm not rooting against my quarterback, dude. I want him. I'm praying he goes out there and light him up. Light for 50 points. Go get 50. Win that game. People who root against their quarterback, this is absurd. He's the driver of the vehicle we're in, and you want him to crash? Like, you sure you're about this vehicle? You know what I mean? It's like, I don't really want a winner.
Yeah, and
it's frustrating.
I think to me the one that I don't get, I do get it, but at the same time I don't get it. I don't get the people who say they'd rather lose games with Trey than win games with Jimmy. I don't get it.
I don't understand.
I don't understand it from the standpoint of just because that doesn't just because he plays doesn't mean he's going to get better. And if you're losing games because of him, that doesn't mean that 2022 is going to be any better, because the team's probably not going to be as good in 2022, and so on and so forth. And I want to see the team win, regardless of if how much of a fan I am. Just from a even my writing perspective, I want to see the 49ers win because it's a lot more fun to write about positives than it is to write negatives all the time. Because when you're writing about negatives all the time, the stuff you have to deal with from people is a lot not fun, because a lot of times they don't want
to hear it.
They don't want to hear it. And
they
and
live
so
in their own world.
And so that's like today, man. I put out a tweet this morning just saying, hey, there's a lot of people that have wanted Trey Lance to start from week 1, from day 1, and and Trey Lance didn't even start day 1 at North Dakota State. He sat for a year. He practiced and did everything with the team. He got into a couple of games at one and scored a couple of running touchdowns, but he didn't play enough to where it counted against him for a year of eligibility. So, and I think that was really what the plan was this year. And the stuff that I got back from that, and I said that I think this was the plan. The stuff that people respond is just like, are you reading the tweet? Because I'm not saying that, I never even said in there that it was a good plan or if it was a bad plan. But here's the reason. Or you throw out there the fact that he throw out there the fact that the first pass he throws is in the ground, and he wasn't in the game. He wasn't ready. It was his first pass. Come on, man. That was his fifth play of the game. It wasn't like it was the first play that he just walked off the sidelines. That was his fifth play of the game, and Shanahan can't give him an easier throw, right? I mean, play action, guy's 5 yards in front of you, just got to put it on him, and
just right there.
Yeah,
there.
And what was funny about it, and I say funny because I say funny because it's ironic. It's something that I talked about, and you saw it on his film at North Dakota State. So it wasn't like something that we haven't seen from him, at least myself, because I was doing all the film studies and breakdowns for my channel. So let's give him some time though.
That's. I mean, I think at this
it'll be
point,
interesting.
I'm with that. I'm with that. I'm what I'm saying is the only thing I would say, and I've been saying this to a lot of our fans, is support your quarterback, no matter who it is, right? Fine, Jimmy's out. Let's say Jimmy's gone. Well, let's commit to Trey. I think it's very important for development, right? I'm not saying let's bow down and say this guy's a god, and no, I'm not saying that. But can we pump the brakes a little bit on everything, not just not just praising him, but also pump the brakes on calling him trash and it's just give the guy some. Look at Tom Brady. He's Teflon. He started off as Teflon Tom. Check down Tom. That's who he was, and he's the king. He's a GOAT, but he mastered the boring game, the boring football style. He mastered it. That's called football. He's a winner. You know what I mean? And some people they would rather lose in style than to win boringly. It's like,
that's
fine.
You just described Kyle Shanahan perfectly, and you didn't even realize it.
It's like so, but I think he's gonna shoot himself in the foot, because one thing I noticed about Kyle is he hates when you don't. He's one of those guys, one of those not so much of a leader, but leader, one of those leaders who wants you to do it his way. This is the play I drew up, and I need you to do it this way. And I don't think Trey's good. Like you guys been talking about this. How many plays is Trey gonna make some stuff up on the fly? I think more often than not.
Yeah, he's gonna have to, because he's not seen things. So the only way he's going to be able to do it is by running around and playing like his hair's on fire, because he's not going to be able to make the plays from the pocket, because he's not seen the field well enough yet. That's for sure. At least that's what it looked like on Sunday. And
so what do you do?
Practice.
Enough with the quarterbacks, okay? We got a quarterback. We officially have quarterback controversy. Now we're like Dallas Cowboys. Now we're like the Dallas Cowboys with the whole Andy Dalton and Dak. This is. Anyways, the defense, like, are they giving up? So when we say he's lost the locker room, I feel like the defense is who we're talking about. It's not just his linemen. It's not just it's not just Kittle. It's not just Juice. I feel like a lot of the defense is like, we need that boring guy in there. Gonna extend those.
That's one of the. That's again. That goes back to the complementary football that teams play, and I know that the defense. That's a tough one because when Garoppolo was the quarterback in 19, he turned the ball over more than once a game, right? I don't remember the exact number.
I think it was like two and a average was like 2.5.
I think he had like
Something
20.
Ridiculous.
Yeah. Well, no, it wasn't that high. It was under 36, but it was in the high 20s, so it was more than once a game that he turned the ball over. So he did put them in bad situations, but
yeah.
The defense was really good that year, and so they didn't know. They did a good job of limiting the damage in those situations. And then Garoppolo, as everybody knows, would always come back and put points up on the board on the backside of it. Yeah. And the team was pretty darn good that year in time of possession as well. And some of that was the defense getting off the field so much, and some of that was the offense being able to minimize the amount of time they had to be out there by long extended drives.
Right. I agree. I'm praying we don't lose. Like I was telling, me and Jesse was talking about this last week. It's only week 4, and I said, I'm not. It's week 5 now. It is what it is, Jack. We are where we are. We're 2-2. It is what it is. The season's not over. Do I think we're a Super Bowl team? Absolutely not. But it's football, Jack. It's football. Anything can happen.
Oh yeah, it's they're 2-2, and there's a lot of teams that are 2-2 right now. And it's just the hard part for the 49ers is that they have 3 of them in their own division that are all ahead of them.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, that's scary. But you know what? I think the better team lost last week.
Oh, I don't disagree.
I'm not talking about our squad or the Seahawks. I'm talking about the Rams.
I agree.
When I look at those teams, I'm looking at. Part of me was like Vegas, but then I'm like, you know what? No, let's not go there. I think the Rams losing last week was great. Great. That just. I mean, for me, I'm looking at it like this. What if Jimmy does start this week and he lights Arizona up?
Yeah. And he goes out there.
What if the kid goes in there? Light him up.
No, if the 49ers can win this week, it's huge. Again, we talked about that last week. The loss to Seattle was a big loss, but you kind of make up for it a little bit in the way that you're beating the number 1 team in the division. The 49ers, I was just looking at it. There's a lot of teams that are at 3-1 and 2-2. I think there's about 11 of them. So in the NFC, there's quite a few.
Yeah.
So they're right in that mix. There's going to be a big group of teams that are going to. There's going to be someone probably at 9-8 that's going to get that last spot in the playoffs at 7. And the 49ers right now, do you realize that they've played 4 games and they've scored only for all of the whatever you want to say about the 49ers offense, the 49ers have scored 8 points less than the Rams at this point. 8. That's the difference between the 49ers and the Rams. 8 points. With all the talk you want to talk about Jimmy Garoppolo, Trey Lance, compared to the 49ers having the 4th best quarterback in the thing and how much better Matthew Stafford is going to make the Rams, the 49ers are 8 points behind the Rams in points scored so far through 4 games. Isn't that wild?
Okay. I'm going to defend him. I love him. I was gonna wear my jersey. I was like, no, you have no power to do that right now. You need to chill out. Just like you're telling everybody else to relax. You need to relax. So that's what I'm telling myself. But that first drive, I was proud of him, and I'm like, that's who you want every drive.
Yeah.
Or I'll take it 75% of the game, okay? but I earlier you guys went over it. You and Grant went over it. You guys play by play. I love that. Broke it down, and I don't know, man. I'm looking at that first drive, and I'm like, wow, that's good. That's scary. That is when we move like that.
It was everything about that drive was really good except for the hold on Sherfield.
Yeah.
But they came right. It didn't even slow them down. They just kept on rolling.
That was beautiful. You put something together like that, and then now let's go back to the play calling, dude. What's up with Kyle, man? When I saw Trey make that throw to Debo was so wide open.
Yeah.
What's up with that? You have to explain that to me. Is that like, because I got my woman. She's screaming, "Oh my God!" She's going crazy. The house is divided, right?
Uh-huh.
She wants excitement. Everybody wants a novelty. Everybody wants something new, right? It's like, I'm tired of eating eggs every morning, Dad. Please, just cream of wheat.
Uh-huh.
And so she's just like, put Trey in, and I'm like, that had nothing to do. Right, like I could have made that throw.
No, you're totally. Well, I think what it was is it was something that they had seen. They were able to put what's his name, 33, Joel Adams, in a situation where he was going to have to do more than and that was a busted coverage. And I think it was something that he had in his game plan, and it was just based off of the way that they finally started to get Seattle, because they were running a lot of slants. And so they started, I think, getting Seattle to drop into zones instead of more of a man look. And
right.
And I think that that's a tough one for the defenders to be able to communicate and whatever. And so once he saw that, he went to it, and it hit for a big play. And Lance, at least Lance didn't throw the ball out of bounds, right?
Right. No, that was beautiful. And here's my take. Just for whoever's watching, they want to know, because it's usually E. Kim. I hope they start Trey Lance this Sunday. Okay. I want Trey to start this Sunday, and you know why. I'm a long game guy. I don't care.
I want you to say why.
I need Jimmy 100%. And I also want to see the kid, because if the kid could really ball, you gotta leave him in there.
Yeah, totally.
You have to leave him in there. It's you've already divided. He may lose the locker room. So now you have to roll the dice. Now you're in a position where you have to roll the dice. You have to.
If they go into Arizona and they beat Arizona with Trey Lance, and I don't think he loses the locker room as a result of that. If he goes into Arizona,
no.
And Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy. Let's say that Jimmy Garoppolo is healthy, and he decides that he's going to go with Trey Lance, and then they lose. Then that might be a situation where he loses the locker room, right?
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah, if he goes out, and if Garoppolo isn't fully healthy, and they decide that they're going to go with Lance, I don't think that you lose the locker room with a loss there, and I don't think you lose the locker room if he plays really well and you decide to stick with him either. It's more,
and that's more playing time and development for him.
Yeah,
for the kid, like everybody knows, you can read all the books you want, but life is the best teacher, and you have to experience it. So the best teacher is being in the game, play by play. And so I think, throw him in there. Let's see. Why not? With 2-2. I mean, for me, it's a must win, but let's see. Because
Yeah, the buy gives you a little bit of allows you to be a little tricky in this situation if you want to be.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. I'm. You already know where I stand. Go Niners. I
Go
want.
Niners.
You know. I want to win. I want to win. I don't give a damn who's throwing. Put Jack in. Put Jack in. Jack in.
Man, I
I'm
could have hit.
scared
I
that
could have hit Debo Samuel on that throw.
Tebow.
That
I
looks
know
like
you
me.
could have. I know you
That
could.
ball looks.
He was. He.
That looks like me playing catch with my kids out in the street. I can still throw the ball about 35 yards down the sideline.
How long? How long?
That was about what, 35 yards that he threw it? 25, 35?
Yeah, yeah,
I can
yeah. I
I
think
can
you
still hit
got
that along the
35.
sidelines from the middle of the field.
Easy, easy. You got it. Yeah, I believe in you.
That might
believe
make
in you.
I might have to be out of the game, get my shoulder iced up after that one throw to get that far, but hey.
Yeah. There goes my rotator cuff.
Yeah,
Oh
exactly.
man.
Exactly.
Hey, it's fun. Next Tuesday I'll be back with you, man, and I'm praying for. I'm a homer and I'm a man. I'm faithful, so I think we're gonna blow them out. But I think we're gonna blow them out every time. Every game. I'm there. I'm always in spirit. But God, I'm starting to have way more faith in you and Grant than I do in Kyle, man.
Oh no, that's a problem, man.
That's a problem. I don't know if he's sabotaging intentionally. I don't know. As a leader, I wouldn't. Anyways,
Yeah.
thanks for having me on. I love being here, man. And next week, man, just oh man, we need to win this game next week.
I hear you.
We
I
need
hear
to
you.
win.
Hey, and I like
Yeah.
having you on. That's why I saved you for last, because I knew it'd be a fun call and I wanted to end the night on a good note. So
Thank you, sir. Thank you so much. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Hey, big shout out to Jack. Let's go Niners. We're digging for gold.
there you go.
Later, brother.
All right. You have a good night, Jeremy. All right. So that's good. That's a wrap for tonight. Thank you to everybody that joined. If you liked what you saw, please go ahead and click that like button. Subscribe, comment, do all those fun things that you do on YouTube. And just want to say I appreciate everybody that joined, especially those that called in, and even over in the comment section, there was some good stuff over there as well. So it's 7:30 out here on the West Coast, 10:30 on the East. I'm going to let you guys get out to your night. Have a great night, everybody. And I will be back at you on YouTube on Thursday night for the Hammer and Nail show. So be back then. Have a great night, everybody.